For years, late in August, for a treat, our mother would take Penny, Mike, and I to the circus parade. We would get up all early, very excited, and go downtown by bus to get good sidewalk seats, to watch the parade, hear the band, and see the Shriners circus animals go by. We never ever went to the circus. Cost too much. Near the end of August, just home from the bank, and as usual, looking tired, Dad carefully placed his hat on the front closet shelf, hung up his coat, then much to my amazement, he reached back and pulled out 4 tickets for the circus from the inner pockets of his overcoat. Tickets given to him by a friend who was a real Shriner. Now, there was often chocolate bars in those inner pockets, but never before were there circus tickets. There was one for me, Penny, Mike, and Mum. None for Dad, of course. Dad would be rewarded for his wonderful gift by a quiet Saturday afternoon, sitting in his comfy chair, reading in peace with our dog Charlie curled on his lap and a craven A between his fingers. My sister remembers wearing the pink cotton dress she made in grade 8 on that sunny Saturday in 1958, when she was 13, I 11, and Mike 9. We all crammed into our old green Chevy with Mum at the wheel and enough gas to get to the P&E and back, full of the expectations of a happy day. Because yippee, we were going to the circus at last. Up Rupert Street into Hastings, Mum drove to the park in the dusty gravel parking lot out beside the football stadium by the P&E. With 4 circus tickets and enough funds to get into the P&E and to buy each of us cotton candy. I remember the noise of the rides, the smell of the food, and that particular sensation as the gritty rolls of sticky sweet pink cotton candy melted in a sticky mess across my tongue, my fingers, and my face. There was no money for any other treats, thankfully, because I was too stuffed by then anyway. We were going to the circus, and nothing else mattered. We wandered through the P&E grounds to the buildings where the circus was held, reaching the Renfrew side of the P&E just in time to watch the elephants being hosed down and fed in front of the building. In spite of their grand size, they were roped off in a tiny area with chains around their feet. I felt sorry for them, so chained and hobbled. They did not look happy. Then we rushed to get our seats just above the 3rd ring on the north side of the building. Mum sat in the furthest seat to the north by a post with Mike next to her, me next to Mike, and Penny at the end, the most responsible to keep us in line. My memory of the circus is a blur, as much of the action came from further down from us in the 1st and 2nd rings. I do, however, remember looking down towards the south end of the building and being fascinated by the crew of men assembling and resting the many wires and tightrope nets, making certain that these were sturdy. Finally, to loud fanfare, the ringmaster strutted in with his chest puffed out and whip in hand. The circus had begun. In the first ring, he presented the trapeze artists, making their grand entrances proudly. Decked out all in glitter and feathers, sparkling brightly, they ascended high above us, almost to the ceiling, by wrapping a long rope around their ankles and gracefully, hand over hand, they pulled themselves up until they reached their respective tiny platforms on either side of the trapeze. Suddenly, both trapeze artists jumped down to grasp their respective swings by their tiny seats, then flung themselves flying backwards and forth through the air, throwing and catching each other again and again as the crowd below them gasped. I shut my eyes in fear that they would fall. And then they did fall, only to bounce back up on the nets and go up again to hang more precariously by their teeth. Oh, the terror of it. Oh, the fun. Of course there were elephants. There had to be elephants. In they lumbered unshackled from the south end of the arena, one baby elephant holding the other elephant's tail, descending in size from the largest elephant to the smallest little baby elephant. And oh, look, Penny, there's a pretty lady held gently in the biggest elephant's trunk. Next, there were tightrope walkers and acrobatists and unicyclists. A group of clowns crammed themselves into tiny automobiles, then ran around squeaking horns and doing silly things. There was horns blasting and sands failing. I was enthralled. I loved it. I was almost ready to run away to the circus. At last the lions were wheeled in from the north entrance in colorful wagons. I see them clearly now. They were in the third ring. Our seats were so very close that I could even smell them. Into the cage that resembled a bird cage entered the lion tamer. The assistants outside secured the doors behind him and made ready their pistols. The lion tamer strutted bravely into the center of the cage, holding only a chair in one hand and a whip in the other. As one by one, the lions entered the cage. Well, the lion tamer cracked his whip, forcing each lion to sit on a pedestal. At first, all went well. The lions did their trick to the crack of a whip and the poke of a chair until all the lions had circled the rings on their belly, jumped through hoops, gone through the rings again, and once more onto their pedestals. The lion tamer raised his arm and swung his whip around to celebrate, and the crowd roared to the king of the lions. Then the cage door opened once more. Into the center of the ring ran the biggest lion of all, tossing his magnificent golden mane. Staring straight in my direction, he shook his mighty roar and roared as the magnificent amber roar. Then roaring again and snarling, the lion resisted being forced onto the pedestal by the lion tamer. When the whip lashed across his mighty back, the lion retaliated, baring his teeth, unsheathing his claws, and striking a bright red line across his right arm, shredding the cloth The lion tamer slashed back with his whip across the enraged Leith back. The lion roared a terrifying, threatening, thunderous roar and shook his head in anger. We could see his powerful muscles roll with every move he made. The lion tamer stepped closer, whipping him more fiercely and thrusting the chair into the lion's face. With a sudden, ferocious anger, the lion lunged at the lion tamer, knocking him down on his back and sinking his enormous teeth into the flesh of the fallen man. From outside the cage, I heard loud bangs from the ready guns, shot into the ring, and smoke filled the air. Immediately, whips were cracked at the lions from all sides by assistants outside the cage, and all the lions were forced out of the cage and sent running back through the connecting tunnel into the circus wagons. The crowd gasped in horror and shock as the assistants dragged the bleeding lion tamer out of the cage. Suddenly, the back of the building was thrown open. In no time, an ambulance was heard, speeding into the building and rushing the injured lion tamer off to the hospital. After that, I remember very little of the final part of the circus, but the show went on to a starch conclusion somehow. Penny, Mike, and I started to get up to leave, but her mother did not move. She could not move. Was the horror of the lion mauling the lion tamer more than she could take? Mum was leaning against the shoulder of a lady next to her, speaking quietly, the lady listening intently. I was confused. I could not hear what Mum was saying. I did not know what we should do. Everyone around us was rushing excitedly out to the exit. Penny immediately took action. As fast as she could, she ran all around the building, found the Red Cross tent, bringing back help for Mum. The Red Cross people called the ambulance, and another ambulance rushed into the building. Our mother was bundled onto a stretcher and whisked away in a speeding ambulance to we knew not where. I clearly remember looking forlornly at the vanishing ambulance, wondering where they were taking Mum, and if we would ever be able to find her again. Suddenly, we were on our own. And where Mum was going, we did not know. We were not told. The lady who was comforting Mum leaned over quietly and asked Penny, "How are you three getting home?" We did not even have enough between us for a phone call. I was just contemplating the long walk home when the kind lady reached into her purse and handed us each a quarter for bus fare. Under the firm direction of Penny, we rode the Memphu bus to the Broadway bus, transferred to the Broadway bus, then transferred again to Rupert, and all the way up 21st Street, reaching home at last. I remember waiting at the Broadway bus station, so excited, while Penny stood erect, watching over us, making sure we got home safe. We have finally arrived home, rushed up in the front stairs to Dad. We opened the door, shouting the news to Dad. "Dad, Dad, the lion tamer was mauled." Dad blanched and demanded, "Where is your mother?" Your mother is not with you." He must have imagined the lions running loose and attacking our mum. Why else would she not be with us? We could not tell him where she went. We did not know. All we knew was an ambulance took Mum away. Alarmed, he immediately phoned Uncle Ernie for help. "Then wake him up," he yelled into the phone. In a shot, Uncle Ernie arrived to pick up Dad. Dad grabbed Mike by the hand as he rushed out to meet Uncle Ernie's car, leaving Penny and I alone at home in their wake. Mum had had a hemorrhage. They found her in St. Paul's Hospital in the emergency on the bed right next to the lion tamer. To my amazement and envy, 9-year-old Mike got to see the bleeding lion tamer. Then he faithfully led them to the car in the parking lot, and both Dad and Uncle Ernie went home, while Penny and I stayed home to wait. A few days later, Mum returned, safe and sound, with doctor's orders to take it easy for a while. I have always remembered this as a most thrilling and dramatic adventure, but it shattered Dad's day of peace. And for Mum, it was most likely a trauma than a drama.